looking for the new year, and whether it be 6 months or whatever, review those objectives, and if at that point she's not meeting the objectives, why then there should be perhaps a discussion about disciplinary action. But she should not automatically roll into some sort of a disciplinary action over the next 6 months because she hasn't done anything wrong.
No, I wasn't talking. I didn't mean by.
I know you didn't.
And
I just wanted to
and I
clarify.
don't mean the township's divided. Yes, this could divide opinions among the township.
I'm sure it will, Jim.
I'm Jim Swartzel. I'm a past supervisor of the township, and I find the action of the board somewhat appalling, and I'll give my reason. Dave, you mentioned that the decision for non-reappointment of Renee was not based on performance. I think you said that 5 minutes ago, and the fact remains is that the decision is not based on performance. Was it based on personal issues? And I know I've talked to every member of this board on many occasions, and I will attest to the fact that there are personal issues that exist between the current board members and Renee, and I would like to see it corrected. Thank you.
Dave?
Dave Breon, former Banner Township Supervisor. No, we don't have a zoning officer. And we're talking about at some point in time in the future hiring a zoning officer. I have the same concern that McGee does. How are things going to be handled? You're talking about appointing an interim. I think you already have somebody in mind, but I want to know how soon that is going to take place. Are you going to do it in public, or are you going to do it behind closed doors?
The interim would be appointed immediately. Yes, we have a couple of solutions in mind, and no, it can't be done behind closed doors. So it will be done in this setting, depending on what happens later this morning. It'll be done this morning. So we will have zoning coverage immediately. That was certainly an oversight on my part, on our part, to not have done that at the reorganization meeting. We will correct that.
And I'm assuming that they are going to meet the qualifications and have the responsibilities that are established by state law.
Yes, absolutely.
They will have to do the same thing Renee has done for the past 20 years. They will have to interpret the zoning ordinance literally. They do not have the right or the power to provide any kind of deviance from that. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay.
I understand that quite clearly.
Because I know that that's not what you guys stand for, so I just want to make sure that we understand that moving forward, that ordinance is in place and you have to obey it. And you do not have the power to override what the zoning officer is doing. You do not have the power to override what the zoning officer is doing.
No one has ever suggested that that's...
I'm telling you, well, I have some information that you have subterfuged the process already, and if that's the case, it's not going to be very nice.
That's fair. Yes.
The way the economy is today, I wonder if you people had ever thought of going in with another township and dividing the zoning officer. In other words, this would decrease the expenses for our township to have a part-time zoning officer.
That's certainly something that most likely will be considered during the evaluation process as to whether there is a way to share services, exactly how we deliver zoning services, and what's an efficient and effective way to do that.
That would decrease the overhead for the township.
Yes, sir, it would. Well, with that, I thank you for your comments.
I'd just like to make one more, if I may. I still, with all that you're saying, I still don't see what is so critical that you want to do that you cannot do it with this zoning officer, and you can't do as I've requested. Rescind your decision and second the motion for Renee. And if next January comes along and you haven't got gotten anything, cooperation with the planning commission, the township, etc., take your action next year. Then at least we see you. I have never even seen you at a meeting. You have never been to planning commission meeting. And somebody said the time for us to comment would have been last week when you had your meeting. Well, we didn't expect we had to be here for that. But the time for you to have commented on planning and what we were doing when we had the planning commission meetings, when we did our planning. I never saw you at any of those meetings. So why is it so critical right now that you must have Renee out of her position to accomplish what you want to accomplish in this next year? I don't think that's so. I think you could easily work with us in this whole township for 1 year. And if you're not getting anywhere, then maybe when you'd have this meeting next January and you didn't hire Renee, we can understand. Right now, nobody in this room understands why it's so critical for you to take this action. The simple thing for you to do, you rescind your action, second the motion, have her on for the year, and work with the township. Right now, you're not working with us, and that's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair, and it's not right. You represent us.
One last question. I understand that Renee was docked for pay for last year at someone's instructions.
For last year,
For last year.
Wasn't me.
Okay, if I find out that's not the case,
Well, then you can tell us. I mean, I'm unaware of it.
well, if I find out that's the case.
I'm sorry, you didn't answer me. What is it? What is so critical that you must do? You owe us that. What is so critical that you want to accomplish that you cannot accomplish it with Renee in place and us in place on the planning commission and the supervisors as they are? What's so critical you cannot do that with the structure in place that it is? You need to rescind your action, second the motion, move on with the township for this year. You need to do that.
we will be moving forward, yes. Dave, to try to respond, we believe that the action that we took Tuesday night in reorganization, we had been advised that was a change of employment, that was a termination. And so I think that what you may be referring to is that Renee was paid through Tuesday. Subsequent to that, we've learned that that may not be accurate. So as of this morning, Renee is still employed, and whatever was docked will certainly be corrected and made whole. We're trying to do this correctly.
Good.
One more.
Diglar, former supervisor, 2 terms. John, I believe you mentioned that Renee wasn't fired, she was just released.
She wasn't really, she wasn't